Welcome to the Journeyman Cave, a podcast where we meet and chat with some of boxing's most seasoned road warriors, hosted by Mark Shakespeare and Chris Scarfe.
Welcome back to the Journeyman Cave, everybody. This is round 63. The first one in a little while, and with me as always, my very good friend, Mr. Mark Shakespeare. How are you doing?
Yeah, all good, mate. It's been a while, hasn't it, mate? But it's been a busy year.
It has. I feel bad every time we come on. It feels like we're saying it's been a while. But we've got a few, hopefully people listen to this before Christmas. We've got a few lined up for, in the lead up to Christmas. Hopefully you'll enjoy them. But we're starting off with a bit of an epic, so get yourselves comfortable. Who we got with us this week?
Yeah, we've got a long one, haven't we? You could talk. We've got the great Tommy Frank. Now, this come about, I met him at a show a few months ago, and we've been saying out for a while that there's a few home fighters I want to come on, and we've held off a little bit, but as you can see from last few episodes, we had Mark Hobson on and people like that. And people have been asking to get these kind of fighters on, and they have got a story to tell. So what we're going to try and do is every so often we're going to try and stick go against the grain a little bit and stick an home fighter on. And like you said, Tommy's local, British, Commonwealth, European champion. What a guy he won. He's got some great stories, and we just had to get him on, didn't we?
Yeah, there's no harm in getting an home fighter on now and again, as long as you don't stray too far from us. Our roots. So yeah, as we say, it's a bit of an epic. So get yourselves a drink and a nice comfy chair and have a listen, and we will catch up with you around the middle of the episode for a little update. Let's go back to the beginning then.
Yeah.
How did you get into it?
Yeah, so I'd say I were around 12 or 13 when I first kind of discovered boxing. So what happened was, so my cousin Ricky Frank, he was the boxer in the family. So he boxed amateur. He boxed for Sheffield Boxing Centre. Right. I don't know exactly how many fights he had. He might have had maybe, an handful. But I can always remember him boxing. So me auntie and uncle, well, all the Frank family, they're off Park Hill in Sheffield. So that's where my cousin lives. So we used to go down to Park Hill and see me auntie and uncle. And they had a punch bag. I can always remember that as a kid, and my uncle Chris, he was always like a big boxing fan, so he used to give me like old VHS videos, remember that Mike Tyson one, that Mike Tyson greatest hits one, so I used to take that home, I used to watch it, and that was like probably my first kind of, I was just maybe a bit intrigued about boxing, and then obviously I knew Ricky went to SBC, so I just asked my dad to take me down maybe one weekend morning, and I can't say that I were a natural. Well, I tell you what it was. So around that time, it were me and a mate. Well, there were a couple of mates from school, and I think I must have asked them like, "Do you fancy doing a bit of boxing?" So what we did, we went to this fitness gym called Sam Jones. It were at Crystal Peaks in Sheffield. It's not there anymore. And they just did like a boxing class there. So again, I must have been around 12-year-old or something like that. So me and a few mates from school, we went there. There were a guy there called Bob, and he was teaching the boxing class. So by this time, I'd already had a few months or whatever, kind of doing a bit of shadow boxing at home, watching Mike Tyson videos, what my uncle had given me. So we were doing this boxing class. So then this coach who were doing it, he came up to me and he was like, "You've boxed before, haven't you?" And I'm like, "No, like it's my first time." So he said, "Well, you look like quite natural, like with what you're doing." But I'd just been practicing at home and just watching these videos. So he happened to be associated with Sheffield Boxing Centre. So he said, "What I want you to do is I want you to come down this weekend." And that just so happened to be the gym that our Ricky were at anyway. Yeah. He boxed out of SBC. So I went down there, on a Saturday or a Sunday morning. And then that were my kind of first, memories of walking into a boxing gym. But I can always remember it because there's obviously like, big long staircase leading up to the gym. And it was like a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning. Gym were packed. I think they had a class on. and all bags are on scaffolding poles.
Wow.
So, like, you can hear the noise, do you know what I mean? So you imagine, like, walking up as, like, a scared, like, 12-year-old kid, you know, a bit nervous and that, and I can just remember hearing the gym. Like, I heard it before I kind of got to the door. And then you walk in and it's like, you know, everyone's telling you about boxing gyms, but SBC, it's a proper old school boxing gym.
It is, mate,
you know,
innit?
do you know what I mean? So you like, it has that smell about it. Do you know what I mean? There's no polished about it. So I can always remember that. And I think at the time I probably liked the idea of boxing more than actually getting it in face.
A lot of that, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of that, you know.
Because, like, I can remember, like, I were a bit of a timid kid, me, do you know what I mean? I weren't probably very outgoing, so once, you know, if I got chucked into spar, do you know what I mean? And I got hit a few times, I probably didn't like it, but then saying that, it didn't put me off, because something must have kind of intrigued me about it, you know, about boxing, and what it was. So, like, so that was when I was maybe 12, 13, 14, I was playing football as well.
They're always playing football, Bill. Besides
football,
that,
yeah. But what's right funny about it were I were terrible at football. So there's this team at Woodhouse Juniors in Sheffield. So I had a few mates from school. It was actually one of my good mates from school, Tom. His dad, Roy, he ran Woodhouse Juniors back then. So I just used to go and train with him, just for laugh. But I were never good enough to get picked to play for him. Do you know what I mean? But I just kept going. And my dad used to take me to train with him. So every week I just used to go. I used to have a laugh. And this is all while I was boxing as well, like going to SBC. So I think it was maybe when I was around 14, you know, and I'd been going to boxing gym for a few years, and I was playing football. And I think my dad just turned around to me one day and he just said to me, "Look, I've seen you. I've took you boxing. I've seen you boxing. I've seen you sparring, whatever. And I've took you to football. I've seen you play football. I think you're more suited to boxing. I think I can see you've got a bit of a talent for it, and I see you like it. So why don't you just stick with boxing?" And then I was like, well, yeah, all right then. So that's what I did. So then from that, around 14 then, and then I had my first amateur fight at 15. And then from being 15 years old, boxing is all I've ever wanted to do, ever.
So when you got to that 15, you wanted to professional then? You wanted to turn pro?
Yeah, yeah. So
it clicked then, didn't it?
Yeah. When I was from 15 years old, being a boxer is all I've ever wanted to be. And again, you know what? It like coincided. So around that time, you remember an old series called The Contender?
I did.
Yeah. So I think the first season of that was 2005. So again, this is all around the same time that I first started boxing. So I can remember watching the first series.
It was a great show, that one.
Yeah, it was brilliant. And I used to watch it every week. Me and my dad used to watch it. I can remember watching that and just kind of saying to myself, that's what I want to be. So from then, boxing, you know, that's all I've ever wanted to do.
Yeah. Well, and I think quite simply, mate, it was the right decision, wasn't it?
Yeah, because the best decision of my life, yeah.
I mean, like you said, we've had a few listeners saying, and down at Scarfe, we're getting people like you in, Tommy, because I don't really interview many people with winning records, as you know.
Yeah.
But we've had a few listeners saying, haven't we, it's about time you started giving these lads, you know, don't get much of a chance to tell the stories like yourself, course, mate. Yeah. And that's what we're going to do from now on. And what a record it was, mate, as well at flyweight. I mean, 20 fights in total, 15 wins, 4 losses and a draw, mate. And we'll go on to these fights in a bit, but what you achieved, should be very proud of yourself, mate. Yeah. You know what I mean? If I were you, I'd have no regrets. To get to the British and the Commonwealth level like you did. Yeah, everyone wants the world, but I think deep down, everyone wants that British, don't they?
Oh, 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 1,000%.
And then anything on top of that's a bonus, isn't it? I mean, before we do go into, did you ever get mentioned for European at any time, Tommy?
Yes, Pang, yeah. So, you know, the last couple of years of my career, I was basically in for the European title. I was meant to fight a Spanish kid. I think he was called Noriega or something like that. And for whatever reason, it never materialised.
Because that's where I always wanted you to. I thought
I'd love to have boxed for European.
It just don't come like that anyway. No. Like I says, I always think that European's the next level up in it. But to get your British and Commonwealth like you did, mate, and like you said, I've had a look at your record. I knew it anyway because I used to follow you. Obviously, because you were local to us, really. We do like Sheffield boxers, really, don't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you fought a lot at home as well, didn't you? I noticed in your record.
I did.
So,
yeah,
were you a big ticket seller, Tommy, or not?
Yeah. So I'd
assume
say
you
so.
were. Yeah.
I'd say so. Yeah. I mean, I always had a good following, and I was very grateful for that. You know, that probably built throughout my career, really. But yeah, always had a good following, and yeah, and I think it's so important for boxers now, isn't it? You know, to gain them followers and that support, and it means so much to you as well. Because I always made a point of just showing them basically how much I appreciated them, because you know they're
Absolutely.
paying their hard-earned money, they're going to work all week, and you know they're giving you. I mean, ticket prices keep going up and up, but maybe 30, 40, 50 quid for a ticket. It's a big thing, innit? Because it's all to support you, like trying to fulfill your childhood dreams, innit? And it's like, yeah, amazing.
And it's like I said, as we said before, sometimes if you don't sell them tickets, it's tough, innit?
Yeah, it's very tough, yeah. And obviously, as you two know, like there's two sides to boxing, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? There's the bright lights on TV, and when you're earning TV money, and then there's smaller boxing, which, you know, 95% of my career, well, you know, maybe a bit less than that, but basically a good chunk of my career were on the small law.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like I said, I think it's vital to give them a shout out, your fans, mate, like you have done, because we are, you know what I mean, it makes your life so much easier, doesn't it, when you've got a backing behind you like that. So before we go into your fights then, Tommy, did you have any goals before you started?
Well, do you know, like for me, I just I just love boxing, and I just wanted to be a boxer. Like that was always my goal, to be a professional boxer. You know, all the way through school, that's all I really had in my head. And you know that, and like when I turned pro, that was like a dream come true for me as well. And it's a good story as well, because obviously when I was younger, like I had that heart operation when I was 5.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
mate.
so
wow.
I was born with a hole in my heart.
Bloody
So
hell.
I had that corrected, and obviously I went on to make a full recovery and then end up. But it's a very like unlikely story, innit?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That is a story in itself, mate.
That's what I mean, yeah. So like to say that my career with anything other than a success is just, and I know that. Do you know what I mean? People say, yeah, it's like you just mentioned about world title. I don't, you know, there's levels in boxing. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think I were good enough to win a world title. When I were boxing, I'll have said I were, because I believed in myself. I think that's the type of belief you've got to have as a fighter, even though it might be, what's the word? Is it naive, or I don't know? But you've got to have that mindset. And I really did believe in myself. Do you know what I mean? You know, it's like my last fight. I'm sure we'll get onto it. You know, fighting Galang Yafai. You know, call me stupid, but before that fight, I thought I had a chance. I thought I was going to do it. In hindsight, were I? No, of course I weren't. Because, do you know what I mean? I weren't, were I? Yeah. But as a fighter, you've got to have that belief in yourself, haven't you?
Absolutely, mate.
You know, but I'm sure we'll get onto that later on. But like I said, my main thing, you know, just I was so proud to have just turned professional. And then when I started winning titles, I started boxing on TV, and I were literally just living my dreams. I really were. They were good times. Yeah. Not only that, but you know, boxing. It's I'm just so grateful to boxing. I really am, because it's took me all over the world. It's took me all over the world. You know, I've trained in New York. I've trained in Vegas. I've boxed in New York as an amateur. You know, with Sheffield Boxing Centre. You know, they took over like you know, an amateur team, and I fought in Gleason's gym.
Wow.
I lost, but I boxed in Gleason's in New York. Do you know what I mean?
That must have been an experience.
Yeah, just
bloody hell, Tommy.
Just life experiences, pal, and that's what boxing has done for me. So you know, like, you know, when people said to me, "Oh, you know, I thought you could have done this in boxing," or "You're unlucky not to get a world title," I don't think about that. You know what I mean? I'm just so grateful. Like the thing is with me as well, I never, I don't think I ever got that exposure in my boxing career. So, you know, I mean, basically, unless you're an hardcore boxing fan, outside of Sheffield, no one really knows who I am. I mean, you might slightly disagree. I don't know, but really, I never got that exposure. But when you look at the titles I won, they're titles every fighter dreams of. Like British, Commonwealth, a couple of international towns, WBC, IBO. So that I'm in a very small group of fighters that can say that they won a British title. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I can always say that. So although I might have not got like, the exposure or the money of the upper end of boxing, I'm still in the history books, aren't I?
Oh,
You know
absolutely.
what I mean? So
100%.
yeah.
It's a cracking record, man. It's such an achievement that you've got. And we're still now doing your fitness on, aren't we? And I've heard we've got a rival now, Scarfe. Someone else has podcasted.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Yeah, we've
Come
started.
on, you've got to get a shout out.
Oh,
Yeah,
tell
that's
us about it. Is it a boxing podcast?
Yeah, it is, Bang. So it's called Boxing Dads. That's what the podcast is called. And like I was telling you earlier, Mark, it's like it's me, it's John Fuchs, Sam Sheeder, and Lee Edwards. So we're all former professional boxers. We've all won titles in professional boxing, and throughout the years, obviously, we're all products of Glyn and Sheffield Boxing Centre. We all boxed from amateur all the way through professionals with that gym. So we've known each other for years. And but how it came about is we've been in a WhatsApp group for the last few years, and we have a great laugh in this WhatsApp group, as I'm sure like every WhatsApp group in world has. Just banter, do you know what I mean? Just slagging each other and just having a laugh. And obviously throughout the years, we've all become dads and all. So I named the boxing group Boxing Dads. And I just basically said, I don't know when it were, not too long ago now, it's all happened fast. And I was just like, why don't we do a podcast? Like, this would just be very good. Yeah. Like, just do what we do in WhatsApp group, but just do it on a podcast. And that's all we do. We just have a laugh. We slag each other and talk about boxing and being a dad. And it's good. It's very good. And like Lee Edward, like, shout out to Lee. I was
good
telling
fighter. Good fighter.
Yeah, very good fighter. Like, one of the best jabs ever in boxing.
Did you jab thee a couple of times, Tommy?
Oh God, yeah. We had
a bully like
yeah. But no, he was a good fighter, Lee, very good fighter, and like I said, he took it upon himself. He surprised me, John, and Sam, and he did like his shed. I'm gonna call it a shed. It's quite big actually. Did it all out on what's on his back garden and converted it into like a proper studio. Got all the gear, got the microphones, headsets, and all that.
Oh.
So, and he surprised us with that, and it looks very good.
And it's out now on YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah. So, God, I'm going to have to say it, aren't I? If you're listening out there, like and subscribe. The Boxing Dads podcast, it's on YouTube. So, yeah, give us a follow. We've got a few episodes out. So, yeah, some good stories. Because, like I said, we've all boxed professional. And we've got some good stories, between us four.
And you've got four good characters there as well, mate.
Characters,
who will absolutely fire off each other.
Yeah.
And to be honest, mate, you all had a decent career, didn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, all four of you.
Yeah.
Fuchsy and
Fuke, were just a phenomenal fighter.
Yeah.
John Werner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sam, former Commonwealth middleweight champ. So there's some boxing experience between us four.
We'll have to get Fuchsy on one day.
Yeah, John.
It's been mentioned,
Yeah, get Fuchsy on.
A few have been saying that she'll maybe come down, but I'm sure he'll have a list and we'll get him down, mate.
Yeah.
So, should we go into your career then, Tommy?
Yes, pal.
I mean, flyweight, for me, a very, very tough division to be in as well. It's hard to match sometimes as well.
Yeah,
I always find.
Yeah.
But I did notice your record, you fought quite a lot at home, so that, to me, realised, when I looked at that, you must have sold a few tickets.
Yes, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you made your debut at Magna, didn't you?
I did.
I'm awful with names.
Sergei Tasimov.
Correct. And he had 95 fights in, I knew him.
Yeah. Did you? Yeah.
I didn't know him, but I knew, obviously, I followed him like I do. But
Serbian.
Yes.
Serbian,
An absolute... He was just...
Yeah.
Well, they all are, aren't they? You fought a lot like Eastern European type guys, didn't you? So you must have learnt a lot from them.
Yeah.
Now, what he intimidated when you got in with me, or it just
No, so do you know what that all came about?
Because you must have been buzzing on this debut. Because I imagine there must be nerves, and also going out that first time in front of all your fans. It's always special.
Of course it is, yeah, and you never forget your debut.
Absolutely.
And that's what I said to, if I'm ever on a show now, like we any fighters, and there's a lad making his debut, I'll just say to him, like, you'll remember this for the rest of your life. Especially like your first amateur fight and all, like same. You never forget your debut. But it all happened right fast, that, because it were, I think I think because of my heart operation when I was younger,
Yeah.
obviously I don't think the British Boxing Board had ever like encountered anything like that. So I think they made me do some like extra tests on my heart, which is fair enough. I mean,
Yeah.
like, obviously from that operation at 5, my heart were good to go. It was basically just like a patch up job. And then like I think I went back to hospital every year to have a checkup. I got discharged when I was 15, do you know what I mean? So full recovery, but obviously, board, they wanted me to do some extra tests. So I went and did these extra tests. To be honest, I think Glyn were probably a little bit worried that maybe they weren't going to give me a license or something. Do you know what I mean? Because again, I was probably only fighter that's gone on after having heart when I was young, sort of thing, to turn pro. But anyway, it all came through. But it were about 3 weeks before the fight because Sam Sheedy, he were topping the bill against Andrew Robinson. And that turned out to be a great fight. I think it was a 10-round fight.
Is he a Brummy-like guy, Andrew Robinson?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
I know him
Good
on
fighter.
Facebook. Yeah, I tried to get him on show a couple of times.
Yeah.
The animal, they used to call him.
The
animal, yeah.
Good fighter, big, strong.
And he were animal and all.
Yeah, he were. And Sam, he had his hands full that night, but I think what happened with Sam is he hurt his back, like literally. I think it might have been the day before or something just kind of went in his back. And I remember the day of the fight, Lisa, again, shout out to Lisa Bailey, physio, she was working on Sam, like trying to get his back sorted. This is the day of the fight. So he literally came to the venue and, obviously he couldn't move, but certain movements, and it kind of locked up. His back had locked up. He hardly did a warm-up. Before, and he went out, and it was an hard night. He won the fight, you know what I mean? And he won the fight. I think they gave it a split decision, but, I think Sam definitely won, but it was an hard night's work for him.
Robinson could get anyone an hard night's work.
Yeah.
His nickname suited him very well.
That's it. And then, like I said, and that's the night I made my debut. So it all happened fast. Before I knew it, I'd got my license. I'd got a date, which was like 3 weeks away. And I would just chucked on it. Do you know what I mean? 4-rounder. And yeah, just box to orders, stuck to me boxing, and I think I won every round, and
that's right. He's a perfect. As I said this before, and I do have fighters I talk to with winning record when they do start out. People like Sergio are perfect to start for.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? That's what they're there for in the game for.
Well, obviously, he's not boxing anymore, is he? I mean, I think he's been packed in a good while, hasn't he? Do you know what I always wonder, like, what happens to these fighters? I'd love to, like, know what he's doing now.
I wish we could find out.
Yeah.
We do get a lot of messages from Eastern Europeans, don't we? Well,
sometimes.
I do. I got one other week. I'm sorry, I forgot his name. I couldn't pronounce it if I knew it.
Right, get you.
But we had a good week, didn't we? A couple of weeks ago, I think we got 4 wins, haven't we? In 4 wins and a draw at weekend for a weight corner.
Yeah.
And this Bulgarian guy messaged me. So I follow your podcast. I got my first win, and I never heard of him. Right. And he said I got my win, and I thought, oh, let's check him out. Like, and here on it, he says, I'm hoping to get to my Centurion. And I thought, oh, he might have just started off. And he had 96 fights. I never know of him. So you know what I mean? You don't know where they're boxing,
I know what you mean. Yeah, of course.
And they are the hardcore. But I'd love to know what happens to him after.
Yeah.
Because you never seem to find much, and it's tough that. I mean, you're lucky in a way, Tommy, because like you say, you do get a lot of people around you. You've got some good people around you.
Yes. Yeah.
And from the away point of view that we see, when they finish, because they haven't really got a close connection, they're just going around the country week in, week out. They find it hard, don't they?
Yeah.
And it's vital to have that platform when you finish. And I think the board should do something extra about it. But as you know, it's all money in it, and we've talked about that before. And it's easier said than done.
And I mean, and like you said, I've been lucky. I've still got friends now from boxing and who I trained with throughout my career. But I think even with likes of me, I'm not talking specifically about me, but I think when you are finished as a boxer, you kind of you forgot about you are. Do you know what I mean? And that's just the reality of boxing, because boxing is a conveyor belt. There's always the new kid coming through, isn't there? And it's just a conveyor belt, and that's for trainers, for managers, for promoters. And I do think more needs to be done for former fighters, and that's why. And I'll give him a shout out, but boxers in need.
Yes.
And that's that I've had a little bit to do with them, as in just kind of being an advocate for them. they sent me a T-shirt, so I've been wearing that. And I know Peter Fury's involved with it.
Good.
Ake Kareem, he's involved with it. There's some good boxing people who've kind of put it together. The other guy as well, called Gary. His last name, I forgot his last name. Forgive me, Gary, but he's a good man. I've spoke to him. And basically he's put, they put this together and launched it, Boxers in Need.
Yeah,
but it's brilliant.
And it's massive. It's vital. They've got, ambassadors like yourself.
Yeah, I think
it'll raise
it's
so much more awareness.
Yeah, I think it's Gary Cornthorpe, maybe something. Yeah, but the point is, it's just boxing needs more organisation, something like that, and the fighters, they need more care. In a way, I'm very lucky, because I retired from boxing because I knew deep down that I hadn't got that desire anymore or that fire, and it's a dangerous game. That's just the bottom line, isn't it? It's a very, very dangerous game.
In credit to you, because you're quite a smart kid, Tommy. Should give yourself some credit.
I think
Are you up the range of this podcast?
No, I think I probably sound smarter than I am. I didn't do very well at school.
No, I was up thick table, and
I wouldn't. Yeah, so I wouldn't say I'm gifted in that, but I'd like to think I can, articulate or
Correct.
whatever. Do you know what I mean? But the main thing is, it's like a lot of boxers, even though they know that desire is not there, they'll still carry on, and then that's obviously when they might take a bit more damage, and they just box for too long. That's an age-old tale in boxing, isn't it? Like, how many fight, like some of your greats, some of your heroes, they've just boxed on too long, haven't they?
I mean, I still find it sad to this day that you still see Danny Williams popping up.
Yeah,
it's upsetting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Someone needs to just put an arm around him, and it's awful, isn't it?
What, Danny Williams is still boxing?
He's still doing little bits. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken now, Tommy, I could be mistaken, and we'll cut this out, obviously, if I'm wrong. But I'm friends with Tony Conquest.
Ah, right.
I think he's fighting him.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sure he come up on my feed last week.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Danny Wilson versus Tony Conquest, and he got some raps from that. You'll probably heard it, that knuckle sandwich place.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
But if it's not, we'll cut it out. But I'm sure it's Danny Williams who we're on with. But it's not
like
nice,
I said,
is it?
Boxing is a young man's game, like 100%.
It is, isn't it?
You know what I mean? And it's very dangerous. Like I said, when you lose that bit of desire, and maybe when you're turning up for it wrong reasons, that's when it gets dangerous. Well, I mean, it's dangerous anyway. There's safer ways to make a living than boxing, isn't there? And we all know that.
Yeah.
But, when you do get later on in your career, you lose that bit of desire and then you still push on. I think that's when things can go a bit south, innit, But yeah, former fighters. And again, I'm very lucky because I've gone into the other side of boxing, like doing some coaching. I coach boxing fitness as well. So that's primarily what I do.
With my T-shirt then.
You what, pal?
With my T-shirt.
What the Tommy Frank one?
Yeah.
Well, I need to get you one, pal. I do.
It never happens.
I know.
At least when I give you my T-shirt,
yeah, I know that's true, pal. I know, and I promise you, I'm going to get you a T-shirt made and sent.
Only joking, mate.
And
You're fine.
that's on this podcast now, so I've got to do it.
Yeah, hold you to your word.
Yeah, but I think, I think former fighters, they struggle with life after boxing.
Yeah, they struggle to adapt back to normality.
And again, if you've not got as many people kind of seeing how you are and stuff like that, I suppose it's very easy for these fighters to get forgotten, and then that's when they come into difficulty. So, because it's just mad, isn't it? You think a sport like boxing, what's so popular worldwide, especially in UK, but we've got no FA like football, have we? Do you know what I mean? Footballers get a pension for the rest of their life.
PFA,
do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So it's and again, I'm not saying this isn't me complaining, because we know what we're signing up for.
Yeah,
we choose to be pro boxers. No one forces us into it, but I still wish there were more in place to help fighters, and I'm sure they've tried things before. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think I heard about something where obviously it never happened, but maybe fighters give a certain amount of the purse to be saved. Yeah. Or maybe after the career, or maybe it all goes in one pot for all the fighters, something along them lines. Whether that'd work or not, I don't know.
It's especially for the away corner, I think that'd be very smart when you're fighting week in, week out. I mean, because I always say to a few fighters, I'll say, if you're getting whatever you get and you're working besides that, I says, try and put your wage away a little bit. Just try and save a little bit for when you do finish. But sometimes we've had people in this podcast who love to spend, don't they?
Yeah,
We've had some who've been very clever and they've invested it in property. You know, there's no right or wrong way to spend your money in it. We're only here once, aren't we?
Yeah, of course.
But I think it's a good idea. Now, that'd be my advice for if you are fighting on a regular basis. Try and put a little bit away while you are doing good. Yeah. Because you might need it when you get finished.
And do you know what, as well? Just while we're on that subject, I'd say if you're a young fighter, you know, early in your pro career, or even if you're an away fighter as well, do you know what I mean? It goes, you know, for both. But try and do a bit of research and try and learn about looking after your money and investing. Because I like I said, I weren't like sharp as tongue, do you know what I mean? And probably a bit like naive at times, like we all are when we're younger. But I think it's so important to learn about that. That's like the financial side. I just think when you're boxing amateur, you do it for the love of the sport. When you turn pro, this is business now. Do you know what I mean? This is prize fighting. Do you know what I mean? This is prize fighting. So it's for money. So I just think you know, try and do your own research. Try and educate yourself on the financial side, on how to put away some money or smart investments. That's one thing I definitely would advise. You know, young fighters to do that, combined with nowadays the social media. Get into your social media. Do you know what I mean? Get on TikTok. Get yourself out there. Do you know what I mean? Promote yourself. You like use what's available at your fingertips now to promote you and get you out there. You know, put on, like, you know, this is a day in the life. This is what I eat as a pro boxer. This is my training. You know, because people watch it, and and you know, that's how you get your name out there. Yeah, that's what I'd say. Yeah,
very, very good advice, that Tommy. I'd like to back that up as well, 100%. I really would. You need to try and save a little bit for the future, mate, if you can.
Definitely.
But moving back to your career, on your second fight, mate, we did get to Bramall Lane in the second fight, didn't we?
Yeah, Jordan Turner.
Yeah, what you reckon to Jordan?
Jordan, you're good lad. I think when I see we're. I think it was a decent amateur, Jordan. I don't think I didn't know too much about him, but I know, like, when the fight got made, I heard a few people saying, like, that's a good fight, that to have in your second fight, because he definitely didn't turn up to do all but beat me. Do you know what I mean?
So you got a baptism of fire then straight away in your second fight,
mate. Yeah, Jordan Turner. I think that were a 4-rounder again. Won on points, but you know, a good little fight, a good little test for me. You know, early on in my career.
It must have been a good bus for you at Bramall Lane, though, that, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
Even, like you said, even though it might have been at main stadium, it must have been a bus to actually fight in Bramall Lane.
Oh, without doubt, yeah. You know, it was a good night. Like I said, you know, being a United all my life. You know, so it's always good to say that you boxed there.
Nobody can ever take that away from you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
And then after that as well, mate, you had 2 tough Europeans, mate, didn't you?
Yes.
Afterwards, you had Bartos.
Yeah. Patrick.
Yes.
Are they brothers? I think they're brothers, aren't they? I think there's another Bartos, maybe. I don't know.
When I did see the Bartos name, it rang a bell to me.
Right.
But so you could be right. There might be another one as well. And you also had, is it Andronov?
Yes.
Georgi Andronov.
Yeah.
I'm not great, but they must have been two tough ones, mate.
Yeah, so I boxed Bartos at Bramall Lane again.
Yeah.
That were at Bramall Lane, yeah. Do you know what? It's like, I remember bits from him when someone asked me about him.
Yeah.
But I can't remember a lot of my fights, you know, and I don't think, I'd like to know other boxers' opinions on this. I don't know whether it's because of adrenaline and stuff, but it's like, I feel like your memory's faded from your fights, you know, because you've been so emotionally, and like your adrenaline's kind of numbed you a little bit. But I find it hard to, like, I can't recollect loads from my fights, just little snippets, do you know what I mean? But yeah, Patrick Bartos, that were Bramall Lane, beat him on 4 rounds. Georgi Andronov, that were at Ponds Forge, and that were my 4th fight.
Yeah.
And that was my first cut. I got a cut.
Did you?
It was only a little
So you
nick.
do remember stuff, mate, don't you? So it all comes back to you.
Yeah, I can't remember what round it were, but I think it were a clash of heads or an elbow or something. And I got a little cut. I think I had one stitch in it. I think I had one stitch in it.
That's this experience that you have to.
Yeah,
I think you're always going to get in boxing, aren't you? I mean, what do you feel when you got it? Did Glyn tell you got a cut, or did he keep it quiet, or were it trickling?
Yeah,
into you?
it tongued, mate. I think it was trickling a little bit, but obviously it weren't a big cut, so it weren't bleeding massively. And I can't remember what I thought, to be honest with you. I think I just got on with it. I just adapted. I didn't panic.
Yeah.
I didn't panic. I didn't, I just thought, it just probably felt a bit warm, and then I felt blood coming down, and then that I thought, shit, that's it, I'm cut. But yeah, like I said, it weren't all major. That were a 4-rounder again.
Yeah.
And that's the first. That was the first and only time I got cut.
The only time I got cut.
Yeah, never got cut. Never got cut.
Because you're a good mover, mate. That's why.
Yeah, but I mean, I always marked up easy, me. Always, even in gym, even in sparring. Like if I just kind of half caught a shot, under my eye, I'd get a bit of a graze or a little mouse, and I always tended. I must have got that type of skin. I always used to get marked up easy, but I were always kind of like lumped and bruised after my fights. Though they might have been easiest fight in the world, and I didn't get hit a lot, or I thought I didn't, but I always ended up with like a few bumps and bruises.
So you're more of a sweller then than a cutter, weren't you,
I think
mate?
so, yeah. Yeah. I were always a little bit swelled, but yeah, first and only cut in my career, that.
Yeah, because you do get some, don't you, cut so easily, and they get so angry, don't they? Fucking hell, it's like, it's like, oh God, how's that happened again? He hardly touched me, and it's like, so.
But like when you think about like in pro boxing, you're in there, obviously, you're both shirtless, and you've got, well, in my case, 8-ounce gloves on, and it's like bone on bone, isn't it? It's brutal.
You forget you get smaller gloves, don't you, when you're at flyweight, until you move up to that welter and that, and it goes up into padding, doesn't it? But
when you're working on inside and it's like head to head, and heads are hard, as you know, heads are hard. Do you know what I mean? So you soon. I mean, obviously, I took when I towards the end of my boxing, amateur boxing career, head guards came off when I turned senior, so I'd got a little bit used to boxing without an head guard before I turned pro. Yeah. But then obviously as a young pro, that's just part of learning your trade, innit? Learning where to put your head and,
But you were a good mover, Tommy.
Yeah.
You were a very good mover.
Yeah.
And like I said, that comes back to when you first went into the gym, you were naturally, it's just talent to have that, mate, because some haven't got it. But after you had them fights, mate, you did fight a absolute legend journeyman who I'd love to meet one day.
Yeah.
But it's never happened, and I think he's other end of the country for us. He fought Anwar Al-Fadeh.
Oh, Al-Fadeh,
yes. And what a warrior he was.
The Mummy.
Is that what his nickname was?
Yeah, he was called the Mummy, yeah.
He's an absolute legend.
I like that.
Never met him.
Yeah, good man.
I've messaged him on Facebook, and he has, that's one, Scarfe don't like to, he's a bit of a pro, Scarfe.
Right.
But he might be after one, I could maybe do a little one on, do a phone call with him or something like that, and because he's quite far away, but
Where's he from? Because he trained in Sheffield.
But I can't seem to find him anywhere, and I thought, I don't know if he moved away.
I don't know, but I'm sure. I think
he was Sheffield, wasn't he?
He trained at Ingons. I'm sure he did.
Try and find out, because I can't find out anything about him.
Again, fighters like that, like Anwar, I wonder what he's doing now.
What sort of record did he have?
He had 88 fights, Anwar.
Yeah, it was tricky.
Yeah,
and I remember.
Aren't they all from there though? Aren't they all tricky from around there?
Of course they are.
Don't know what they're breeding with. I reckon do it. To be honest, down at Ingles.
Yeah, but like I remember, being matched up with him, and I was a bit nervous.
You must have heard a little bit about him as well.
I did, because it was my 5th fight, and that was on when Sam boxed Liam. When Sam lost his Commonwealth to Liam, that was the undercard, and it were on Free Sports, that. So again, it were on TV, and it was my first time on telly. I think I got on telly. I think I did, or he got pre-recorded and put out or whatever. But I remember being a little bit nervous because I'd seen him. He'd boxed some good names.
Oh, absolutely.
He boxed some good names, like he boxed on TV.
He were always
you know
there.
What I mean? Yeah, he were always there with the lighter fighters. And I knew he were a bit tricky. I knew he were from Ingungs. So I thought, I've got to be like switched on here. Do you know what I mean? I didn't really know what to expect from him. And to be honest with you, I think me having that bit of nerves about fighting him, I think that's what made me sharp. Because I dropped him in first round.
Right, get out. You can't be dropping my journeyman, right? That's out.
I did. Because do you know what?
That first time you dropped anybody, Tommy?
Yeah, it were. As a pro, yeah.
Nice.
And it was just a lovely timed 1-2. It was just a lovely 1-2. But because he were a bit unorthodox, I don't think he were expecting it, and it caught him clean. And it was one of them, like, he did like a bit of a roll, and then he went to one knee. And he looked at his corner, and then he looked at me, and he kind of gave me a little wink as if to say that was good. That,
but that's what that's as well.
I know.
That is what people don't know about people like he just said to you there, "Well done."
Yeah,
that's the way of saying. But not going to do that to me.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So you should be very happy about that.
And I think that's kind of how he felt about the fight. I think he. Which is a compliment, isn't it? Coming from someone who's been in with some good fighters, that's a compliment. But like I said, that was a good learning fight for me. Again, only a 4-rounder, and a good experience.
Yes, because I'd love to meet him, and I know he won in Sheffield, but I got rumours that he'd moved further down other end of the country. But knowing my luck, he probably lives in Barnsley now. I know he does. Yeah. You just don't know. But like I say, they just go missing, don't they?
Yeah, of course.
And they shouldn't.
Yeah, I know.
But if anyone knows where he is, please get in touch with us.
Yeah,
we'd love to have him.
Would I told you I did house seconds. Last week. I went in corner with Sid Razak.
Never.
You
didn't know Razak?
I did. Yeah, one of his fighters. I can't remember who fighter he had.
What a character!
I was talking to Sid. Yeah.
I bet he's got some stories.
Oh, God. You need to get Sid on here, you know.
Sid's on... I don't think he's... again, get him on.
Yeah. I mean, that were... I think that's first time I've met
I hadn't seen Sid. Him on the circuit.
Yeah.
Sid Razak would be one I'd love to get on. And another character who must have some story, Jason Nesbitt as well.
Right.
Two absolute...
Yeah.
Them two were... As I hear, there were the characters in their dressing room back in the day.
Yeah, you can imagine that, can't you?
Yeah, both of them, from what I hear. So, I'd love to get them on. It's just time and finding. But I don't think... See, I'm not really on much on socials, but maybe he might be on Instagram or something. Maybe Scarfe.
Ooh.
Sid Razak.
I'll have a look. I know thingy Nesbitt is, because I've tried messaging him.
Nesbitt is the kind of guy who you'll message him and you'll get one-word answers.
I get you right.
So you don't know...
He did reply.
He's just like, He's just like, you're not here up for about a month when you message him. It's like, yes. And it's like, well, that's not really much, Jason.
Expand on that, please.
It was something like that. Yeah,
it's like, it's like, do you want to come on, Jason, or not?
Yeah.
Yes. And it's like, you're messaging back, great, let us know.
When?
Yeah.
And it's like,
nothing.
Yes. It's like, so we don't get very far with Jason.
Right.
But that's why he's that kind of character.
Yeah.
But try and find Sid as well.
Yeah.
But that's I mean, that'd be his dream to go on a little tour. If we get some money together, we'd like to go down and, we'd love to go see Willie Warburton.
Yeah.
And we'd love to go see Jamie Quinn and Dale Harris-Smith all down that area.
Yeah.
And
have you had Christian Late on?
No.
Christian Late
would be amazing. Peter Buckley wants to come on, but again, it's just travel. And we all know it's like time and money. And they all said they'll come on.
Yeah.
It's just finding the time in it.
You know what's mad? And also, going back to Fulke.
Yeah.
Fulke was one of the very few to stop Christian. Fulke stopped him.
Fuke's not coming on this show then.
No, I think
he's a bully.
I think he stopped him to the body, but I think maybe
not many did that.
Not many at all. Maybe 3. I don't know. Maybe 3 stoppages.
I bet there's not many more.
Which is mad because Fulke wasn't known for his punching power, were it? And he won't mind me saying that. Okay, I weren't, but yeah, it's mad that, isn't it? Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Fulke. I think he stopped him to the body.
Would you say he's the second best journeyman ever?
Christian Late?
Or would you put him top?
Well, he's got to be up there, won't he?
They always put Buckley above.
Yeah,
Same amount of fights. We always have this conversation.
Yeah.
And it's a shame on Christian because he deserves just as much respect as what Peter does. But I just think the calibre of what Peter Buckley fought compared, I think he just getting that tiny edge, but only just. But I had messaged Christian about coming on, but a while ago, I've actually got his T-shirt and his shorts from his last fight, I think.
Have you?
Yeah.
Wow.
But I know he went through a bad time last time I spoke to him, so maybe it's trying to get back onto him. But now I'm back recording again.
Yeah, no,
Let's get on, mate. But we're not here to talk about them, mate. We're here to talk about you, mate, today, aren't we, boss? So, yeah, if I don't know where Anwar is, get in touch.
Yeah.
And then one of my favourites, and I bet this were an interesting fight for you, mate, and you fought Brett Fido.
Yeah, Brett. Good man, Brett.
And he caused some upsets in his time as well, did Brett?
Yeah, he did, didn't he?
Absolutely did.
He caused some proper upsets.
Yeah. But he all right? Did you find him quite simple enough? What he?
Yeah, just a tough, hard man. That's it. He just one of them where like you felt his strength, Brett. I think it was a 6-rounder I boxed him.
Was that your first 6-rounder?
I think it were, yeah. That'll have been my first 6-rounder. That in my 6th fight, and that were on a Corn Grief show. That in Sheffield, it were on like a dinner show, a Hilton hotel.
They did a lot back then, like that, didn't they? They went through a stage when they were doing a lot of that.
Well, to be fair, that's the only dinner show I boxed on as a pro. No, it's not, is it?
They're strange. They're strange.
But to be honest with you, it were very weird because it were completely foreign to what I'd experienced. So, because it were a dinner
completely
show,
different, isn't it?
Everyone's in black ties.
Yeah.
Everyone were cheering introduction. You know, when first bell rang, it went silent. You could hear a pin drop, and I didn't like it. It were weird.
It's a different kettle
of fish altogether. Vibe,
it's not what you used to, is it, when you go and see that?
No.
But obviously, Brett were a good one to have, mate.
Yeah.
But he if you didn't turn up against Brett, he beat you.
Yeah. And again, I just boxed him. I just made sure I was nice and sharp. But I could feel I could feel that he was like a proper man. Do you know what I mean? I don't know how much older he is than me, Brett, but like he had that solidness about him. You could feel that. And then again, with them little 8-ounce gloves on, do you know what I mean? You get a feeling straight away, don't you? And you feel like, yeah, be careful. Just stuck to me boxing. Got me 6 rounds out.
And he'll have known as well that you were good as well, mate.
Yeah.
He'll have known.
Yeah, probably.
When he'll have, because at the end of the day, if he didn't think you were, he'd have bet you.
I know what you mean.
He'd have been there and he'd have tested you.
Of course he would have.
So that's credit to you.
Yeah.
And that's credit to Brett as well for what kind of person he was. And he finished on 98, did Brett?
Did he?
Yeah.
Has Brett finished now then?
I think he has,
Like I said, I hadn't seen him.
Well, he don't reply to me now, Brett, so he must have finished.
Oh,
he must have given boxing all together.
Yeah.
He must be a family man now. And
you know, I saw him, it were when Dennis were putting them car park shows on.
Yeah.
In summer, so it must have been 2021. It were. And I were boxing the week after. I think it were when Fuki made his comeback, actually. And I saw Brett there, so we had a little chat. But you know, it was good to see him. Yeah,
he's a nice guy, isn't he?
Yeah, very nice guy. Yeah. And like I said, caused some upsets.
He did.
Caused some great upsets.
If you were on it, he was one of the few would put it on you.
100%.
And then you didn't get any easier for you, did it, mate? Because
no.
This, you know what I'm going to mention, don't you?
Yeah.
And God, his record just doesn't do him justice, does it?
No.
And you know what I mean? It's a good win, this, mate, against Craig Derbyshire.
It is, yeah.
A very good win.
You need to get Craig on.
But
I mean,
I've actually got his phone number and I've messaged him, but he went a bit quiet. But he's been coming back, hasn't he? He just fought a few weeks ago, didn't he?
Yeah, well, like I said, his career, he's gone from journeyman to champ, hasn't he? He's been brilliant, and I'm really happy for him. Like I said, that was my 7th fight, and that was for Central Area Super Flyweight title on that.
But if you look, that's what I wanted to ask you about this, because if you look on Box Record, any of them records, he's put you as a away fighter.
Yeah, because he was the champion.
Yeah,
so that's why
I didn't know it was for a belt. That
that was
because I thought very strange, because like his 7th fight, and I thought very strange. I didn't think you'd see you away corner for that, mate.
Because he were the champion, so he had the Super Flyweight Central Area title. I can't remember who he won that off, but he was champion. Yeah, when I fought him, and again I think it just coincided. See, he was managed by Corn Greaves.
Yeah.
So the fight before that, I fought Brett on a Corn Greaves show. So then obviously I was talking to Corn, and then he mentioned about Craig. So then that fight just kind of naturally happened after. And again, so that was my first 10-rounder.
Yeah.
And just boxed him because, and he won't mind me saying this, Craig, do you know what I mean? But he does what he does very well, do you know what I mean? He's fit, he's game, he'll wing him in. You know, he's probably polished his style up a lot as the years have gone on.
Yeah.
But, you know, Glyn just said to me, look, you've just got to box this kid. You've got to look good. You've got to, you know, let your shots go straight out. And I just kind of did his head in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I just... I would just picking points up. I was picking rounds up. Do you know what I mean?
And that's all you had to do at that time of your career, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was a dangerous fight to take.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I know, you know, at the end of the day, I knew that I weren't going to stand there and trade with Craig Derbyshire, do you know what I mean? Because that, obviously, that were his style, weren't it? So I stuck to what my style called for that fight. I boxed to orders. My first 10-rounder, you know, it was a good experience. And my first title. But what's more, like, kind of, you know, memorable about that fight was it was only a couple of months after we lost Scott Westgarth.
Yeah.
So I were training for that fight, and then, like I said, I think it was the February when Scott fought Deck, and obviously, you know, Scott Westgarth, God bless him, he lost his life, and then it just turned out that I think it were meant to be on a Corn Grieve show actually, which does make sense because obviously he were managed by Corn Craig were. And then for whatever reason that fell through. So Dennis picked the fight up, and it were in April, and it were at Sheffield. And again, that ended up being on TV. Yeah. So it worked out better. That were on Free Sport. So yeah, and like I said, you know, I wore a T-shirt for Scott, and it were very emotional at night. Do you know what I mean?
It must have touched you, that, mate, because it must have touched everybody in your gym, that.
Yeah. And, you know, that was the first fight back, you know, since losing Scott, you know. So for everyone involved, it was a very memorable night. Do you know what I mean? And obviously, and like me winning my first title, obviously that was a special night for me.
And it'll for him as well, I bet that one.
Oh God, 1000%. And you know, I've had Scott. I had Scott's name on my shorts for every fight I had after. You know, throughout my career.
They said he was a great guy as well. You know.
Oh mate, Scott were unbelievable. You know, again, you know, didn't know him too much outside of the gym. And obviously Scott were a big man. He were like heavyweight, weren't he? But like in the gym, you know, you had a light heavyweight training alongside me, a flyweight. But it were brilliant, Scott. You know, it were a fantastic stable, mate. And he'd do anything he could to help you. And he did a lot of that with me. But I can always remember him taking creatine because like I said, like obviously every athlete, every boxer, they take creatine now. Do you know what I mean? And it's a very, very good supplement. But you know, back then I were only a young pro. I didn't know what creatine were. And Scott, bless him, he was hilarious. If anyone who's listening who's had creatine, it tastes horrible. And Scott, he used to just get it. He used to get the scoop, whack it on his tongue, sip of water, straight down. That's how he used it.
Wow.
Because normally, like, you mix your creatine with your protein powder or you put it in some fruit juice or something.
It must have tasted vile, that.
Yeah. So he used to just get it out of the tub. He used to do it in gym. So I watched him do it straight on tongue, but whack it down with some water. So I tried it, and I think I was nearly sick. I tried doing it the way he did it. Do you know what I mean? Just whack it on back of my tongue. And so we had a great laugh about that. And yeah, just a good man.
Special talent, that, mate. He had, innit, that?
Yeah,
doing that
very special.
Well,
one of many. Do you know what I mean? Because he were like, he were a proper athlete.
Yeah. He was an athlete, wasn't he?
He were he
had everything,
skiing.
Didn't he?
He were a chef. Do you know what I mean? So, like, he looked after his food and, yeah, just an all-round very nice man. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
someone who'll do anything for you, like, helped me out a lot, gave me a lot of advice. And, yeah.
It's like every time I do get someone on from your stable, I always try and mention him.
Yeah.
He always gets a mention because he deserves it.
He does. And he's on, you know, we're obviously doing this podcast. We've got studio. So Lee put a lovely picture up of him. It was the tribute that Boxing News did for him on their front cover. So we've got that picture up of Scott. You know, I've got a picture of me and him, you know, in house.
He'll never be forgotten.
No,
that's nice.
Never forgotten. Do you know what I mean? He's always in his thoughts, Scott is.
Yeah, that one. So it were worked out very special against Craig then, mate.
Yeah.
It must have given you that extra bit of to kick on as well.
Yeah.
And it sounded like you did a job on it, mate, to be quite honest. So
just
credit to you.
I boxed well, and a very special night. Central Area Champion.
My favourite belt,
Central Area.
It's my favourite belt.
Good
Love
title.
it. I always mention it, and I was like, "Shut up, Shecky."
Yeah.
Sick of you mentioning it, but I'll never stop it.
Yeah.
It's the first one to go in it. It's the first one.
Yeah.
And that's what I like the journeyman to try and aim for. If they can before they go out, try and win one of them.
Because you're in good company. You win a Central Area title, so all my heroes, Clinton Woods, Ricky Hatton, God bless him, Central Area Champion. It's a good belt to get in it.
When Ben Wager won it, I had one specially made.
Yeah.
So he'd sign it for me. It's still in my house. That a very proud moment, that was.
Yeah.
Very proud moment.
And you know what? I need to get my belt and all, because obviously it's same with Lonsdale belt. You've got to win it outright to keep it, haven't you? And obviously I lost it, so I've got a replica made. But the Central Area belt, I don't know if the rules are the same now, I'm guessing they are, but you had to buy it to keep it.
Still do.
Do you say you have to buy it? Yeah. And I never bought mine. I gave it them back and I never bought it. So did
Wager. Wager never kept his.
Really, yeah. But excuse me, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to buy that belt.
Which? What did it look? They've changed it again.
They have. So I think Craig.
It's changed 3 times.
Has it? Well, one I won was like a brown leather one, like a brown leather one with like 3 circles on it.
The one Wager one were black.
Right.
And Wayne Reed won one, and it were red.
Yeah, I can remember the red ones.
One.
Yeah.
And he never got one. And he said, I need to get one. And he said to him, I need to get that. And he said, like everyone says, at the time, you give it back, so you've got to pay for it, haven't you?
Yeah.
And I think you still have to pay for it now. Mine's the black one, with it's got like a picture of an old like fashion fighter with gloves up like that.
Yeah.
And a couple of circles underneath. But now it's changed again, hasn't it?
Yeah, but I think Craig is the emblem on the new ones.
Right.
I think Craig Derbyshire.
Is it?
Yeah, I think they've used kind of his silhouette.
Oh, great.
As the boxing man on it. Do you know what I mean?
So that might have been so is that the one that's now?
I think so, yeah. I think that's the new one, yeah.
We'll have to look at that.
I'm sure I'm right about that, but I think it's Craig who they've used.
Yeah, but I've got that. The company I got it from don't exist anymore.
I get you.
There were a company I used to send people to call £99 Boxing.
Heard of them.
I think they've gone.
Right, yeah.
Check it out, but I think they might have finished now. But they did them all.
Yeah.
They did the Commonwealth, and and I said to them, do you do the Central Area? They did the Southern Area, but they did the Midlands, and they didn't do the Central Area.
Right.
And when I asked about them, they says, we'll do you one, Mark. And so they did do them, but I think they've gone. But there is somewhere I think you can get them done.
Well,
it done.
Well, I got a replica of my Lonsdale belt. I can't remember what company. I don't know what. Maybe that were them.
It might have been. They were quite popular at the time, but they don't seem to exist anymore.
But I think if I suppose I could get a replica made, or I might just get in touch with Board and just buy one. Maybe, I don't know.
I think they'll give you one.
Yeah.
Well, end of the day, you won it, mate, didn't you?
Exactly,
And I'm sure they'll give you one.
It's the only belt I haven't got and all.
But they might say we haven't got that.
Yeah, which I'm not bothered. I'd have any belt. Do you know what I mean? But yeah. So,
but it's a very good title to win, that, mate. Yeah. It's the first step on the ladder, innit?
Yeah.
So, and we'll move on to your next one then, mate. You had another tough one. You had Stephen Maguire, didn't you? Your first
Stephen
TKO
Maguire.
as well.
Yeah,
Not many did that to Stephen either.
No.
Less than 10.
Yeah,
did
is that what it was?
66.
Yeah.
I think it was 9 who stopped him in 66.
Yeah.
Now, people might say, that's quite a lot for a journeyman, but I think that's still good.
It's a lot of fights.
It's a lot of fights.
It's in a lot of fights, isn't it?
So how did this feel to get your first KO, mate? Because this what we're going to go into this in a bit, because this what started quite a few, and I thought, has my mate Tommy got a bit of power from somewhere here?
I know, that's it. I know, yeah.
Because to stop Stephen, must have been a tough fight for you, that, mate, because you're a bit of a warrior.
Yeah, it were, and I don't think he'd had many when I boxed him. I think that were maybe quite early on in his career. And yeah, I can remember that were in Leeds, that one. That were like quite a weird venue in Leeds, that like a banqueting suite.
Do you know who promoted that? Do you know,
Yeah, it was Denzel Brown, I think.
He still does them now at suites.
I think that were one of Denzel Brown's show, because he had his son boxing on it. And I think it was just one of them where maybe Dennis was struggling to get me out. So I just ended up on that one in Leeds. And like I said, I took a few women, like they got some minibuses down yeah, ended up being a good night. I think that was a 6-rounder, but maybe I stopped him in. I can't remember what round, but I just caught him. I was just probably a bit too sharp for him. It was southpaw and all. I don't know whether
we're a dying breed, aren't we?
I know, that's it. Yeah,
Nobody likes a southpaw, do they? Mate?
Yeah. I don't know if he were first southpaw I'd box. Maybe I don't know.
Did you find it awkward, or did you adapt all right?
Yeah, because I was used to it. Cause it's like at SBC. Do you know what I mean? Own shapes and sizes for years.
You've just answered my question.
Yeah,
there. You had everything, didn't you?
Yeah. So we had the different styles, and as an amateur, and all them years of sparring. So it never really bothered me that. So yeah, another good night, and yeah, that was first stoppage, weren't it?
It must have been a good for that, mate, because I think everyone wants a stoppage on the record, don't they? Just to say,
Yeah, and
you're always going to get labels sometime. Oh, he's got feather dusters for hands and stuff, and it's tough in it at times.
Yeah,
but yeah, it must have been good to get that one, mate. Then you went in. We had your harder, didn't you?
Yeah. So that was,
and he was, his record.
Yeah,
he'd only lost twice, before when he fought you. His record towards the end were 50-50.
Yeah.
But at the time you took him on, he'd only lost 2.
Well, that I don't think it says it on BoxRec, but it was a 10-rounder.
It is a 10-rounder. I've got.
And that was an eliminator for the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
Or I think it was billed as that anyway. But that's how I took that fight. So that's how Dennis gave it. He said, look, basically, this is an eliminator for Commonwealth Super Flyweight. And that were a good fight. That I won every round of that.
Did you win every one?
Every round, yeah. 100 points to 90, I won that.
Yeah, because he were a decent fighter,
Yeah.
He was one of them who were always around.
Yeah.
And at the end, I bet his record then was something like, end up with something like 20 wins and 19 losses or something like that.
Yeah,
you could always... I can imagine a bit of a gatekeeper at your level.
Yeah, I'd say so.
And that just makes sense now. You've just said that we're eliminator for the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
It just proves to me even more that if he does listen to us, he might think some people get offended by gatekeeper.
Oh,
but I don't.
Yeah, 100%.
You'll get some people, so don't ever, like Derek Chisora, don't ever call me a gatekeeper and all that stuff.
It means you're a good fighter.
Exactly. But then I always call people, like we had Carl Wilde on.
Yeah, Carl.
I always said Carl were a bit of a gatekeeper, and he went over the moon to be called that.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that's what he was, a bit of a gatekeeper for you. And now you've just said it's a Commonwealth title, eliminator.
Yeah.
It just proves he were up there and he were dangerous.
Yeah.
So well done for that, mate. Well done.
Like I said, it were another good learning fight. Again, just boxed and, probably set my feet a bit more. Did set my feet a bit more, let my shots go a bit more. And again, that was... another 10-rounder. So we're building that championship experience for me, Yeah. So yeah, another good experience.
Just jumping in for 1 minute. We wanted to update you on a couple of things that we talked to Tommy about. He mentioned the charity that's quite close to his heart called the Children's Heart Surgery Fund. I think they're based in Leeds, and they enable children, adults and families affected by congenital heart disease to live empowered lives through family support and by fundraising. So, if anybody might have a few quid spare or anything, this is a very worthy charity. I would implore you to check them out. And the other thing we wanted to mention, and I'm not sure if it will have been mentioned on the podcast yet, but Tommy has his own podcast. It's called Boxing Dads. You can find it on YouTube. I think it's Tommy and 3 other ex-pros basically talking about boxing. I assume there'll be lots of references to their own careers, and I'm sure they have guests and what have you. So give them a listen as well. And I will let you get back to the episode with Tommy Frank.
And it led up then, didn't it, to the special night?
Yes.
Because another belt that don't get enough recognition from me is a Commonwealth.
Yeah, Commonwealth.
People that say it's a bit of, sometimes they say, oh, well, it's just a bit of a... But you fought Luke Wilton for that, didn't you?
Yeah.
And it sounded like, mate, I mean, I haven't seen that fight, but it sounded like you were on fire that night from where I looked at it.
Yeah.
You put him down a few times, didn't you?
Yeah, that was like a coming of age night, that, I think.
It must have been a special night for you, that.
Yeah, because I were 25, and again, I'd won my area title, and then Commonwealth it's a major title.
I think it is.
It's a bit.
It gets very...
No, Commonwealth, that's a big title.
I think so.
Commonwealth champion. The Commonwealth, it's like, I'd probably slightly off on this. It's like 52 countries.
Yeah.
You know, it's a big title, and it's a proper title, innit? So that were it were a big fight for me, and not only that, but the opponent, and also Luke Wilton. I think he'd had a year off or so, and then he were making a comeback. So he'd had a couple of 4, 6-8 rounders or whatever. But I know he'd been in there with Charlie Edwards.
Yeah.
And I think he lost on points to Charlie Edwards. So obviously I knew about him.
Well, you will know from chat, yeah.
And obviously I'd seen him box, and I knew he was a good fighter.
He's no mug.
No mug at all. No mug. And I think a lot of people in boxing, probably especially in Sheffield, were maybe thinking, this might be a bit soon, because I think it was my 10th fight.
It was your 10th, mate.
So they were thinking, 10th fight, it's a big step up, a big title. It's on TV. It's a bit, do you know what I mean? So I think they were thinking I was slightly out of my depth, and I was nervous for that fight again.
Well, you're going to be really pumped for that, mate.
And I was nervous. And I remember I started boxing in the first round, and he caught me with like an overhand right. What if you watch it, the fight's on YouTube, and you'll see he throws this big daft overhand right, and it kind of catches me on temple. And I'm not visibly hurt, but it gave me like deja vu. Every night, if ever in my career, if I got hit with a good shot, I used to get like a bit of deja vu. Me, it's like when you feel like you've been there before. Yeah. It's a bit like an out-of-body experience. It's quite scary, to be honest with you, isn't it?
Before,
do you know what I mean? Yeah, honestly. Yeah, I don't know any fighters out there. They might, if you get buzzed with a good shot, I used to get like a bit of deja vu, a bit of a weird feeling. But he buzzed me in first round. You can't see it on, I mean, you can see the shot land, but I don't look hurt. But internally.
In the temple as well.
Yeah, and it buzzed me, but it switched me on. And literally about 10 seconds after that is when I dropped him.
You dropped him twice in first, didn't you?
Yeah, twice in first, yeah. They were both 1-2, just straight 1-2 down middle, but fast. And it just... and
sometimes they're sweet though, mate.
Yeah, sweet. Just
Sweet
bang on button.
Bang, boom.
Yeah. And then obviously the first one I dropped him, we caught him. And then I got straight back on him, caught him again, and he went down again. And so that went first round. And then... I think it will.
Fourth, you got him down twice as well.
Well, it was one of them where after that first round, I probably thought, now I'm on to a winner here. Do you know what I mean? And then I went out second round, and he kind of came back. I still won the rounds, but it was still there. So then in the back of my mind, probably in the third round, I was thinking to myself, right, all right, then this still might be an hard fight. This an hard 12 rounds.
Levels in it.
Levels, pal. Levels. But then, I went out straight away in the fourth round. I caught him with a left hook to chin. What shook him. And this is like literally 2 seconds into the fourth round. I met him in centre. I threw a left hook, and it caught him on, and it buzzed him. So then I kind of jumped on him a little bit. I got him on ropes, and I went down to body. I went left hook to body. And I think the body shots in that fight, that's what did it. Because I'd already hurt him to head, and then them body shots, just kind of finished it.
Nice.
But then, that was fourth round, one of the best nights of me.
Very special night, mate.
Very, very special, because it were just unexpected, really. Do you know what I mean?
It was a tough one, mate, for you,
yeah,
wasn't
and
it?
I had loads of people after that saying, like, fucking hell, Tommy, like, we weren't expecting that. Do you know what I mean? Which I took as a compliment. Do you know what I mean? But, it were a very, very special night, that. Created a bit of a buzz.
And you've got a Commonwealth belt, have you, at home?
I've got the Commonwealth one.
You need to get that central area to go with it.
I know, mate. I do. I need to get it to go with more.
You most certainly need to get that one to do it, mate. But that was a cracking win, that, mate. And like I said, must have been a buzz with your fans at Ponds Forge as well. Yeah. Not far to go. And you just sound like you were on it, mate, that night.
Yeah.
And it must have been a cracking performance.
Yeah.
And it must have been good. And then obviously after that, this was your third KO in 4 fights. So have they been pumping up these weights or something, mate? Where's they come from?
I don't know, pal. I've literally no idea. Do you
think it's confidence or?
I was just about to say that.
It must be something. Up here. I can do this.
Especially in that fight and all. So basically,
it was John Chua, wasn't it?
Yeah, John Chua. Yeah, he were another like tough Tanzanian kid.
Aren't they all from there? Aren't they?
Yeah.
They're all powerhouses, aren't they?
Yeah. He's still boxing now, John Chua.
Is
He's
he?
Yeah, he's still on circuit. Well, oh no, it's not John Chua. No, it's another Tanzanian who I'm thinking of, who I boxed in.
There's a few Tanzanians knocking about, you know.
Yeah, he boxed him now, because funnily enough, he messaged me and all a couple of months back. He boxed Dennis McCann, and he gave Dennis McCann a tricky night's work. Oh, what's his name? I'll have to have a look on my box rec. It'll come to me.
What there were a Tanzanian guy on, you know, when me and you met for the first time at Magna, and he won.
Right.
Derek Worrell's fighter, and he sparked somebody in third round.
Yes, he did.
And he were an absolute animal.
Yeah,
and I'm sure he was Tanzanian.
But yeah, I think he were. I think he were.
There's still a few on the circuit.
Yeah.
You know, you're in for a tough night with that. And like I said, that what third KO, 7th round, was that a 10 rounder, that, mate? Or a 12? Do you know? Against John.
That was a 10 rounder, that.
Yeah,
that was a 10 rounder. Because I think what it were is I was supposed to defend my Commonwealth. Was that the fight after my Commonwealth?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think I was supposed to defend my Commonwealth, but they couldn't. I don't think they could get it sanctioned, or maybe they wouldn't sanction Chua for it, or it were like a last minute thing. So it just ended up being a 10 rounder, you know. But yeah, when 7th round,
7th round, you stopped him,
yeah, a big left hook, I stopped him with, yeah.
Moving on from that one then, Tommy. Anyway, I mean, I can't pronounce this one very well, but you had a split decision winning, it said, against Aaron.
Yes.
What happened in that fight, mate? Was it a close one, or?
Yeah, it was a close one.
I thought WC silver flyweight, that, wasn't it?
Yeah, for WBC international silver title, that, yeah. So what it were close fight. I won on split decision. There were a few people thought I didn't win that fight.
Yeah.
I always think, as a fighter, you always, deep down, you know if you won. You've got a feeling if you've won. And I think you know me by now. I'm honest, you know what I mean? When the final bell rang, I thought I'd done enough. And I thought the championship round saved me. You know what I mean? But I had a bit of an off night that night. It was my first 12 rounder.
Yeah.
And I had a bit of an off night, you know, just when you're not quite firing. Mm-hmm. And I would maybe just a split second behind pace. And I'll tell you what, he was, he never hurt me. He never hurt me, but he was the most heavy-handed fighter I've ever been in with. He had the heaviest hands. It was...
like a couple of chunks of cement.
Honestly, mate, yeah, he was solid. And obviously, I think he were a Thai fighter. I think he'd had a lot of Thai fights. You know, I don't know how to say it, my Thai fight.
Yeah.
It's that, innit? Muay Thai, maybe.
You had a lot, still do now around about, you get a lot of Chinese/Japanese lower flyweights, don't you?
They're proper solid, aren't they? They're hard men all day in Thailand, proper hard men. And I can remember it was seconds out, round one, and I met him in centre at ring, and he kind of dipped his knees and threw a jab to body. And you know, just when you feel someone's power, and I thought, fucking hell, like, he's got heavy hands here. Yeah. So then straight away, I was like, fucking hell, like, I need to like be on it, you know, tonight. And again, just a little bit of an off night from myself. You know, I were winning some rounds, he were winning some rounds, but I would just I probably weren't boxing how I should have been. I was just making it harder than it had to be for myself.
Yeah.
And then it got to round 10, and I think Glyn said to me, he said, look, this is close, this. He said, it's a 12 rounder, you need to go out, you need to fucking work now. If you want this, you need to work for it. And to be fair, that's what I did. And I think I won round 10, 11, 12, or maybe 11 and 12. And that's what got me out line. Yeah. But it was just one of them fights where it were an hard night's work, and it were like I said, it were proper solid. It were heavy handed, and it were hitting me round back.
Yeah.
And you know, like in kidneys,
kidney area.
And then in me, it was first. Bro, to be fair, it was first and the only time I did my drugs test after the fight, and I pissed blood. I kind of shit myself because I fucking, obviously I were, and it were red, so I fucking shit myself a bit, do you know what I mean? But obviously that's, for boxers listening, that's not uncommon, is it? It's mad,
not on this show, it's not.
That's what I mean, that's not uncommon, so that was my first like experience with that. But
It just proves how hard you were hitting.
yeah, but do you know what I mean? He were an hard man him, and it were like I said. You know, a few people said, "Oh, I thought you might have just lost that," but I thought I won it. I thought I just scraped to win. Again, championship rounds. I think my engine and my fitness won me that fight. I were able to dig in rounds 11 and 12, let my hands go and win them rounds. So it was a little bit of a gut check for me. That, do you know what I mean? And do you know what? Sorry to cut you off, Mark. It turned out to be a good win, that.
Absolutely.
He went on to box Inoue, the monster, for undisputed bantamweight world titles.
Just taking my headline anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cam. I'm sorry.
No, but yeah, that just proves, doesn't it?
Yeah. So in time, that it was a good win, that.
And you're just saying that positiveness as well from your side.
Yeah.
It's your first 12-rounder.
Yeah.
And you've won them championship rounds.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So that just proves.
Yeah.
You know,
I suppose in many ways.
And the monster he is a monster, isn't he?
Yeah, of course he is. Yeah, he knew he is. Yeah, but again, for me, that fight, it was a little bit of a gut check, and it was one of them fights where, because it were hard. You know, if I didn't have that inside me, if I didn't have that desire in me, I could have maybe just wilted a bit and maybe just swallowed it a bit, and you know, but I didn't. But I had to dig in. So that were again another good learning curve in the first 12 rounds. That, and
it sounded as well like that body shot in the first round were a blessing in disguise, to be quite honest.
Yeah,
to wet you up and think this is going to be a nice switch on here.
I can always remember that he never caught me and hurt me, but he just had heavy hands. So when I was taking him on the side of my arms and my gloves and round back, I could feel the weight in his hands. Yeah, proper hard man.
And it was a great win, that, mate, wasn't it, in the end?
Yeah, good win, that. It's aged well, hasn't it? Yeah.
Most certainly has, mate. Well done to you. And then you went in with, after that, mate, with IBO. What do you reckon to these Intercontinental Championships? Some people give a bit of stick, some people think.
Yeah.
You went with a Mexican, didn't you?
Yeah, Martin Tequapetla.
I'm glad you said that because I was shitting myself to pronounce that.
Well, listen,
I said that.
I don't know if I've said that right. I've probably butchered that, but that's what I see it as,
Well, I'd have massacred it, mate. So I'd rather you butcher it than me massacre it, mate. So you've done well there, mate. I think you pronounced it pretty well, didn't you?
Say it with a bit of confidence.
You most certainly did, didn't it? Nobody will ever know, no difference.
That's it.
Yeah. As we all know, the Mexicans, mate.
Yeah.
They come for a fight, don't they?
I did all right with this Mexican. Like I said, he were that were 10 rounds. IBO Intercontinental.
Yeah.
I think they're good title. Obviously, they're used to get you a ranking, aren't they? That's what they're used for. Do you know what I mean? So they're used to get you in top 10. So when I won that WBC, that put me in the top 15 in WBC. Same with IBO. But you see, what happened so before that fight, Dennis, so that was the first time I moved down to flyweight for that fight, for the IBO Intercontinental.
I've actually thought that. I thought it was a bit strange.
Yeah, so what happened is Dennis got me the opportunity, and there was a chance for me to box for the IBO flyweight world title.
Yeah.
So IBO world title, and that were going to be against another Mexican who had the title, called Maximino Flores. I don't know if he's still about. I've no idea.
Can't say I know him.
Yeah, so I don't know if he beat a British kid, or I don't know if a British if a British kid boxed him and lost, or beat him maybe. I don't know. But anyway, so Dennis got me in line to box for this IBO title, but I'd not boxed at flyweight as a pro, so I needed a ranking.
Yeah. So
that's why he put me in for this IBO Intercontinental. Again, tough Mexican. He were on me all night. And again, probably, that were a time where, I were working with, I started working with a nutritionist, shout out Lee Rickards. Brilliant
amazing,
man.
Aren't they?
Really knows his stuff. So he got me down to flyweight.
Must have been tough, that, Tommy.
Yeah, I think it were. Yeah, I mean, obviously.
What is flyweight?
8 stone.
8 stone.
8 stone.
Yeah.
So it's 50.8 kilos.
Yeah, that says it.
And like I said, there's not a lot of difference between. There's only 3 pounds between flyweight and super flyweight and bantamweight.
You can't lose too much, can you?
That's what I mean. But when you're down at them weights, at the lower weight classes, 3 pounds counts as a lot.
Yeah, it's
like equal to maybe half a stone for a middleweight. Do you know what I mean? So like I said, I moved down to flyweight for that fight. I won on points easily enough, 10 rounds. and then everything was set for an IBO world title, which got announced. Got announced, so that was going to be March 2020. And then what happened was, in the January, I went out to Ukraine. Because I got asked to go out there to spar with, at the time, I went out there twice, actually. I went out just after the fight before my Commonwealth one.
Yeah.
The, what's his name?
What, that Adam?
Yeah, so just after the Adam Yahaya fight, I went out to Ukraine, and it was Artem Delakian. He was the WBA flyweight world champion.
Right.
He had a good few years at it as well. He was from Ukraine. I think he boxed on some good shows in America, but obviously flyweights, they don't get as much exposure, do they? Like early 2020, I went out there for 2 weeks. Me and Sam Sheedy went out. So I was sparring with him. So that set my year off to a good start. And then, like, while we were over there, like, obviously at night, just in hotel and going on his phones and that, started hearing about this virus, this coronavirus.
Yeah.
I mean, what we're in China. And then I remember we got back, so that were in the January. So come like maybe late February, we organised a training camp in Fuerteventura.
A lot go there, you know.
Yeah. So I don't think Sam went out, but obviously there were me, Glenn, you know, a few others we went out, and we had some sparring and stuff. So that was like maybe early March, to call it that. And while we were over there, things just kept escalating about this virus. Do you know what I mean? Like, we'd get back to apartment at night, and it'd be on news like, now it's in Britain. Cases are rising. And then all of a sudden, they're cancelling this sporting event. Tennis has been cancelled here, or there's been. So then in back of his minds, we're all not saying all.
Yeah.
But we kind of think we're getting a little bit worried about this. Like, do you reckon this would affect boxing or, you know, stuff like that? Because every day it will like escalating a little bit more because you're getting a bit more serious.
Yeah.
So then we went to come home, and our flight was pretty much one of the last flights to leave Spain.
Right.
Before airports got shut. So we flew back to England, and then I think maybe the night or a couple of days after were when Boris made that announcement about lockdown. And then obviously that fight were off, you know, show got cancelled, COVID, it was a nightmare, weren't it?
Absolute gutting, mate, wasn't it?
Yeah.
For everybody. And like you said, when you were getting that big night and it comes out, didn't it?
Yeah.
It must have been heartbreaking, mate. Because you've done all the preparation for it, haven't you? Leading up to it had been perfect. Yeah,
and I think, and again, I'm a big believer in everything for a reason, do you know what I mean? No regrets, but I think if that fight would have happened, I'm confident I'd have won that. And I think that would have propelled me into some bigger fights, like the big fights.
Yeah. I've no doubt it would have done, mate.
Yeah, but it didn't. There you go. No, that's it.
And then we moved on to Gonzalez, didn't we?
Yeah.
Twice.
Guneros, yeah.
Well, do you want his full name?
Oh, has he got a Gonzalez in there?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes, that's why. Because I thought it was Guneros, but as I can't say it properly. Yeah. Rosendo Hugo Guneres Gonzalez.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
Ah, right. Well, maybe he's a Gonzalez all along then.
Well, I'm going to go with you, Tommy.
Yeah.
So, but this was your first loss.
Yes.
With an injury.
Yeah.
Now, just fill us in that must have been tough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, not just that. That were a mad time because that was, and this is where you've got to give credit to Dennis because at this time, this is December 2020, so this is proper lockdown. I don't know if, you know, I think only sport back with football maybe, or for a good couple of months. It was football behind closed doors, weren't it, in empty stadiums, and then I think slowly boxing started. So Frank Warren and Eddie, he were doing his back garden shows and stuff. So then, you know, Dennis, obviously he's been up there, he's promoted.
Oh, yeah,
he's been up there, but obviously he's been promoting small all, hasn't he? You know. So that's where you've got to take your hat off to Dennis, because he was thinking about obviously how to keep the ball rolling for such as me and other fighters he had, and he put on the I think it is still the first ever UK driving boxing show.
Right.
So I don't know if you remember, but so that show,
I can remember a driving box. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's that. Yeah.
So that show, it was in December in Sheffield Arena car park, because obviously it had to be outdoors.
Mm.
And the only way he could get spectators there was if he kept them in the cars.
Isn't that clever?
So, obviously, like in America, they have like driving cinemas, don't they?
Yeah.
So he thought of that concept and created a boxing show
That's
for that.
clever, that, mate.
So it were on Eurosport. He signed the thing with Eurosport. They picked the fight up, and then, like I said, that was December. I think it was December 11th, 2020. That, and me shoulder went in third round. It were a nightmare.
Were you boxing okay up to then, or?
Yeah, I think I started the fight well. Do you know what I mean? I had a good first couple of rounds. I don't think Glyn were happy with me, because I think he thought I were getting caught a bit too much. But then, after watching him fight back, I thought I had a decent couple of rounds. Yeah. But then in the third round, I think I went to throw a jab, and then I just felt something go in my shoulder. But it was kind of like a weird feeling. It weren't like a pain. It weren't like I've snapped something. Do you know what I mean? It was just kind of where that felt strange. I never experienced it. And then I kind of gave it a little shake off.
Mm.
And then I went to throw another shot with it, and it was like there was nothing in it. It was like all the motion in my shoulder had gone. It was like
just no more.
Like no power in it. Like I couldn't. And then it was a very weird sensation, and only after I'd torn my rotator cuff, that's what I'd done.
Ouch.
And then so obviously I came back after that round, and I told Glyn, and Sam were kind of like massaging it and trying to get it back. And then as the fight went on, like the few rounds after, it was just seizing up more and more.
Mm.
And it were I didn't realise it at the time. But then watching it back on TV, my hand had kind of dropped. Like the fight's on YouTube if anyone wants to watch it. And my hand were dropping like lower and lower as fight goes on. But do you know what? I were one-handed. I just used my right hand. I didn't have a bad couple of rounds,
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like round 4, 5, and 6, maybe. I think I won them rounds.
Yeah.
Obviously, just using my right. I don't know whether I were probably confusing Guaneros. I don't know if he thought, is this like a tactic or something?
Yeah.
You only use, do you know what I mean? But then I think when the penny dropped that I'd hurt my shoulder, I think he upped the pace.
Yes.
Then, and I just felt like I was still in the fight, but just when the rounds are just slipping, I just felt rounds slipping slightly. And then obviously everyone who knows Glyn, like they know he's very conscious about, protecting his fighters. And he, I think it would end at round 9 maybe, or round 8 or 9. And he pulled me out. And obviously it was my first loss.
Yeah.
So I was gutted, but I was gutted, absolutely gutted, because it was my first loss. But I'll tell you something now, I was so like overwhelmed with the support after that fight, because more than any of my wins, more than any other fight, I got so many messages. So like from people who I'd never met, just messaging me saying like, we watched fight, we thought you did brilliant, you know what I mean? You did your best, you didn't give up. And I had, I had like a lot of love after that fight.
You get the real. That's when the real boxing community comes out. Innit?
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's always good and round you when you're winning.
Yeah,
but like you say, when you hit that brick wall and you get your first loss and you are a bit down, that's when you get your people who, do come out and support you. And you just hit the nail on the head by saying that. Yeah. And then obviously you had the rematch and lost on a split decision for IBF Intercontinental, mate.
Yeah.
Do you think you did lose that fight, or
just a bad night again? Bad night again, right? So this is me, and I'm just being honest with you. When the final bell went, I felt like I'd nicked it. I felt like I'd done enough, but that's the problem. I tried nicking it, and you can't do that. Not at that level. And I just think like I said, so that were the June. So I did my shoulder in the December. This were the following June. And I'm not making excuses, but my shoulder still weren't right. And I'd had to rehab it again. Shout out to Lisa Bailey. She did a brilliant job with me, Lisa. Just rehabbing it for months and months, not throwing it, just rehabbing it and then slowly introducing it back. And it actually went, not as bad as the initial injury, but I had a few mishaps with it in camp. And then looking back, I don't know whether it was probably the best idea, me going straight back into that rematch. Maybe, I might maybe have had a 6-rounder or an 8-rounder just to break in again. Do you know what I mean? But I think in the back of my mind, I still knew that this left shoulder weren't 100%. And I think that played into the game plan in that fight. Again, I don't know whether, between me and between Glyn, I don't know whether we got that game plan slightly wrong. I think I just moved a bit too much in that and didn't do enough work. I thought it were effective up to a certain point in the fight. And then, because don't forget, he's the champion. You know what I mean? So he had the IBF Intercontinental. So I think when it got to a certain point in the fight, I needed to put my foot down and really cement it. And I don't think I did it. Even though, to this day, I still feel like I did enough to win. Yeah. I can see why I didn't. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but also, that must have been in mind with your shoulder as well. Sometimes thinking that if you're going to put it on a bit more and put that pace on and go a bit more, that you're thinking that if I do any more, it's going to pop. So, to be honest, you did what you thought was best.
Yeah,
so
exactly,
that's what it is at the end of the day. And we could have been sat here now and after that fight and you could have gone for it hell for leather, saying I need to a little bit more to take this title away from him. Yeah. And it might have ripped.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you're talking to us now and you're saying, I wish I just stayed on my jab now. I wish I just boxed it and, just kept. So, fact of the matter is, mate, you were a good fighter, right? You thought you nicked it. Yeah. You did well. You should be proud of yourself, mate.
Yeah.
And then,
but I mean, obviously you're going to come on to this. So that were to say that were probably the lowest point in my career. That because I'd lost 2 on bounce, and
must have knocked the stuffing out of you, mate.
Oh, it did, mate. Yeah, honestly, and it were like, although obviously the years are way back, but at the time, I was thinking basically like, where do I go from here? Do you know what I mean? Like, I thought I'd have to just go back and rebuild completely. Do you know what I mean? Go back and, box a few 6 or 8 rounders and get back. And not only that, but I thought I had a feeling like a few people were kind of writing me off a little bit. Do you know what I mean? I maybe heard a few whispers in around Sheffield or around boxing community. And I just had that feeling like people were writing me off a bit. But I tell you what it did do, it put a fire in my belly. It really did. And more than ever, I were determined to kind of like prove people wrong and get back.
Yeah.
And again, do you know what? Credit to Dennis because, I said, because you've got to remember, again, going back to Dennis, and obviously he's not with Fight Academy and then obviously he launched Fight Zone and stuff, but Dennis and his business partner Steve Crump, who had a massive part to play in my career as well. They didn't have the budget of an Eddie Hearn and a Frank Warren. Do you know what I mean? So they're putting on this first car park fight, what must have cost a bomb to put on. Do you know what I mean? And then Mishonda goes. So then they pay in to put the rematch on. But don't forget, Guarneros is the champion.
Yeah.
So they've got to pay him to come back over here to defend against me. And I've lost again. Do you know what I mean? So from their point of view, you can kind of understand if they'd have said to me, look, Tommy, let's just go back and have a few 6-rounders and just build up steady again. Do you know what I mean? But then I said to Dennis, I said, look, I've got a bit of fire. I'm straight back in the gym. Just get me another opportunity. But at this time, I thought it was going to be a 6-rounder. But I said to him, as soon as possible, I'm going to get straight back in gym. I'm not having any time off. Obviously, I kept working on my shoulder, and that got just about right. Yeah. And I was like, I just want to be back out as soon as possible. So he had a show coming up, a Sheffield show, and I was building on that to have just a 6-rounder, which was the plan. And then about 5 weeks before the fight, because what probably a lot of people don't know is, so before the Guineros fight, the first one in COVID, I was in for the British title because we only thought it were going to be boxing in England. There were going to be no foreign boxers coming. I was in for the British title, and I had a few opponents for it, and they kept pulling out. So that was why I ended up boxing Guineros for this IBF title. So I was already in for the British. So Dennis said, I've spoke to the board. There's an opportunity to box for the British against Matt Windle. Do you want it? And I was like, yeah, absolutely, I want it. And I think, like, again, a lot of people, and this is probably just people probably being just fucking haters, but a lot of people
you're going to get him, mate.
People saying, oh, he shouldn't have boxed for that because he lost 2 back-to-back. But I think, the British Boxing Board of Control, they use a bit of common sense. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, technically, on paper, I had lost 2 back-to-back, but one was through an injury and one was a split decision loss at fringe world level, international level. Do you know what I mean? So I'm coming back to box for the British, what I was into box for anyway. So they've obviously just given me the benefit of the doubt, haven't they? And put me in for it, which is not hard to work out. But anyway, so then, so literally 13 weeks after the defeat, I won my British title, which was the best night of my career.
Yeah.
So that just shows you, like, literally from down there to up there within space of 3 months. And that's how boxing can change.
And Matt Windle was a tough kid, wasn't he?
Yeah, good, very good. I've got so much respect for Matt.
Me too, as well. Really I do like Matt. One of my favourites when he was around,
Yeah, he's a good man, Matt, and a nice guy. Good fighter as well.
Clever and all, isn't he?
Yeah, very clever. He's the poet, innit?
Yeah.
And cleverer than me.
The poet with a punch,
yeah. That's right. But he had, I think he had a good win before our fight. He beat a kid called Neil McCubbin, who I think were a good amateur. And he beat him on one of the Fight Zone shows. And then obviously, and it's mad and all because I actually, just after, the build-up to Guineros fight, actually, I'm not sure. But I actually sparred Matt. Yeah. He actually came to SBC and we sparred. And then, like I said, maybe about 6 weeks later, we ended up, fight. Well, not 6 weeks later, but that's when the fight got made. You know what I mean? So it was, but like I said, I won a Lonsdale belt. It was.
There's no better feeling for any boxer in this country, is there?
Yeah.
And to win that belt.
And that was the best night of my career, without doubt.
I bet the crowd followed you, didn't they, as well, mate?
And it was emotional as well.
Not surprised.
Obviously, coming back off them 2 defeats, and then just getting my hands on a Lonsdale belt. It's like just watching Friday Fight Night as a kid, and when you see that Lonsdale belt, and it's just it's a dream come true.
And you're holding it. It's
crazy.
Yours, mate.
Yeah, unbelievable, mate.
Yeah,
History books.
The relief, it must have been relief, like you said. You've gone from rock bottom and you just completely catapulted to the top, mate.
Yeah.
Credit to you for sticking at it, mate. Because he was no mug with Matt.
No, he weren't.
I like Matt a lot.
Tough kid,
I will message him to tell him we're being on.
Yeah, do that.
I will definitely message him.
Yeah.
Hopefully he'll not send me a poem, though, because I won't understand it.
That's it, yeah.
But then you went in with a steady 8-rounder, mate, with Charles Tondo, didn't you?
That's what I was telling you about, Charles Tondo, yeah. He were awkward. Tanzanian.
Yeah. Aren't they all? We said that earlier.
Yeah, like I said, he gave Dennis McCann a good fight. Yeah. Charles Tondo, yeah. He's still boxing
what is strong?
Now. It was just awkward. It were awkward. But
I understand what you mean.
But it were game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It were very game. And he, I had a bit of an attitude about him, which I liked.
Yeah. Were you all right to talk to?
Yeah, obviously, he didn't speak much English, but funnily enough, he did actually message me because he's been. I don't know if he. No, I don't think he does live in England, but he spent a lot of time in England because he's had a few fights in England now. And I think when he were here for his last fight, I can't remember who he boxed. I watched it on telly, and then he messaged me the day after, and so we had a little chat. So, but yeah, Charles Tondo.
Yeah, he's another game guy, isn't he? Very strong, and you know what I mean. He'll turn up at a drop, and he ain't going to scare anybody, is he?
Yeah, like I saw him put. I'm friends with him on Facebook. And he put, I think he put it as his profile picture. Is obviously in our fight, he must have caught me with a good one. and it's like, and photographers got it bang. It's one of them like
which splats coming off.
Yeah. And he's put it as his profile picture.
It's good, wasn't it?
It made me laugh. It made me laugh. A good shot.
Did you tell him though? Did you tell him you put it and say what you putting that
no,
up for?
I didn't tell him. No.
We'll not say a word, mate. We'll not say a word.
Yeah.
And then this was a big fight as well, wasn't it? The rematch.
Yeah, the rematch.
How did this come about with Derbyshire? Did it?
So
this was a time he went on a little roll, didn't he?
Yeah. So he'd had a good few wins.
Yeah.
He'd had a good few wins. So he'd automatically, like in the pool of flyweights, he'd got himself into contention. Do you know what I mean? And then I just think it were one of them where there wasn't really other opportunities, just weren't popping up.
It's tough at your weight though, isn't it? To get to match and to have the amount of fighters, isn't it?
And like I think at the time, I think Dennis were trying to get me maybe a shot at European. But again, there were a lot of messing about, and who's going to put the fight on? Because I know Dennis were talking to likes of Frank. I don't know, probably Eddie as well. But I know he were definitely talking to Frank about trying to get me on a Frank Warren show, and maybe for that European title against that Spanish kid.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, things just weren't happening. And then it got suggested about that fight, and I took it as a voluntary for me British, and like I said, that was the rematch, and good fight.
Yeah, what a good fight, mate.
Good fight. And I know for a fact, like Craig and all his supporters, they feel hard done by. And
they did feel hard done by on that night.
And I know Craig thinks he got it. And again, I'm just being honest with you, Mark. Like, you know me, I'm just honest. I thought I did enough to win it. I did. And when that final bell went, I thought, although I'd scraped it, I thought I'd done enough to win. And like I said, you have that feeling as a fighter. And I obviously I've shared a lot. Well, what have I shared? So what's 10 or 12? What is it, 22? Yeah, God, I sound right thick, don't I? See, I told you I'm not academically good. So I've shared 22 rounds with Craig then. Do you know what I mean? So you get to know a fighter. And like towards the end of that fight, I knew that I were kind of getting to him a little. When you can see someone just wilting, you can see it in their eyes, can't you? And again, this isn't me making excuses, but I'd say basically after COVID, after having that time out and with my shoulder and everything, I was done at flyweight. I shouldn't have been boxing at flyweight. I've never said this like kind of publicly, but for the weigh-in for Craig Derbyshire, I lost 11 pounds in 6 hours. To make flyweight. So the morning, so basically, this were one of the time I went through patches of working with Lee on my nutrition, and then doing it on my own. And again, I think it's just trial by error, and it's just doing it in it, and then learning on the job in it.
That's most I've ever heard in my life.
I know, and I'd probably get in trouble with board, but saying that I'm not boxing anymore, I know, so I can say it. But
that is a lot.
But mate, honestly, it weren't through me being undisciplined or anything like that. I just miscalculated it, and as in like with me water intake, with water loading, stuff like that. So I woke up at 8:11 the morning of the weigh-in. So I had to get on treadmill, and I did. What did I do on treadmill? I think I did maybe 4 or 5 pound on treadmill. In about maybe an hour.
You must
and
have been knackered that night. You must have been absolutely.
So this is the morning of the weigh-in. This. So then I got about 4 pound off on treadmill in a sweatsuit. I came back and I had to do the rest. I had to do about 7 pound in hot baths.
Hot baths is always the one in it.
I got 7 pound off in hot baths, and to say that I nearly died, when I look back, were fucking not far from truth. I weighed in. Craig don't probably know this. I mean, I must have looked horrendous at the weigh-in, and I think Craig knew that and all. And then after the weigh-in, I went to rehydrate, and because I took so much out, I'd basically like put my body into shock. So I was getting water and electrolytes down there, but I were projectiling it up. I couldn't keep.
I'm not surprised.
I couldn't keep out down, so I'd shocked my body. and I couldn't keep anything down.
You must have had nothing left.
Yeah. So I like the fluids I was putting back in, they were just coming straight back up. And because of that, because I was so depleted in my muscles, like not like nothing in me, my muscles, every muscle in my body was cramping to the absolute max. I was rolling around on floor at home.
Oh.
So my missus is a nurse. I think she'd probably just like newly qualified then. But she saw me, obviously, I was being sick and I was fucking rolling around with these cramps.
Yeah.
And she was going to call Glyn.
Mm.
And I begged her not to. And when I look back now, it was the stupidest thing in the world because it doesn't even compare to what were at stake.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about money.
Yeah,
because
you could have just collapsed at any time in that ring, you know.
I know.
You must have been drained.
But my thoughts then, because obviously I weren't boxing for a lot. I can't remember what I got for that fight. I don't think it was 10 grand. You know what I mean? It might not have even been. Might have been just under 10 grand. And then so just thinking about what I risked for that fight was fucking stupid, absolutely stupid. But it were I needed the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I didn't fight, I didn't get paid. And I were a full-time boxer, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got sponsored full-time, but that weren't spending, that were just ticking over money until I got me purse, do you know what I mean? And I had to beg my missus to not say anything to Glyn, because Glyn had just pulled me out straight away. I know he would have.
Yeah.
I managed about maybe 4 or 5 o'clock that evening. I managed to start stomaching liquids, and then I could start eating. So I started obviously getting my carbs in, and so like I said, the next night I did 12 rounds. And It was stupid, like unbelievably stupid. And to say what state I was in, I didn't do bad. I didn't. Do you know what I mean? I didn't actually do bad. But, again, this isn't me I'm not taking anything away from Craig, do you know what I mean? But I know I was, 40% of myself, if that. But like I said,
if Craig listened to this, I think he'll be shocked.
Yeah, it probably won't be. Yeah, like I said, I've only tongued, close people that I've never said it publicly, do you know what I mean? But that's, and when I look back now, that was so stupid, it was unreal.
But Craig will have known you were drained, like you said there. He'll have
seen. They saw me at weigh-in, and they saw what state I was in at weigh-in. I know they did. Yeah.
So a draw were in the end, mate.
Yeah.
But, 2 top quality fighters and shared 24 rounds together.
Yeah.
And
he's a good fighters. He's a good man, Craig, and I've got a lot of respect for him and Niall.
Yeah.
They're good boxing people, and he's gone on and he's
does it the hard way, doesn't he? He's done
it the hard way, and credit to him.
Yep.
Credit to him on.
Craig, I've got his number, but it's finding time, innit?
That's it.
But to me, on your record, the next one, mate, I mean, you fought Jay Harris.
Yeah.
I mean, top fighter, if you ask me, mate, to be quite honest.
Oh, very top, yeah.
Very good top fighter.
Fought for a while.
I remember when that fight got made, and I thought, this is going to be tough for you.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were out of your depth, but I thought it's going to be a tough fight, this.
Yeah.
Because the 2 very top fighters. You know what I mean? I thought a really good matchmaking, to be honest.
Yeah.
And what did you think to him when you were in the ring?
So, first off, Jay is just a brilliant man. Proper top man. Loads of respect for him.
Yeah.
Saw him not long ago, so that would be nice to see him. And I think me and him were probably talked about for a couple of years, but again, COVID, it were a big time out. Yeah. I think that probably messed up a lot of momentum, as in making fights and getting the big fights as well. But we were both training for that fight for the best part of a year, and like I said, Dennis was trying to get it on other shows. So
it was a big fight, that. It was always a big fight to be made that always got talked about.
Yeah, so you would think me and Jay Harris, a British title, you'd think it'd be snapped up by Eddie or Frank, to get on an undercard or a big show, and no one were going for it.
It's just a lighter weight for some reason. Don't get the credibility that If they'd been at welterweight or above, they'd have snapped someone.
They would
have
have,
been on phone and snapped your hands off for
if
it.
that were a middleweight, do you know what I mean? But it's just, for some reason, it's just different, innit? And no one were picking it up. So this were going on and on. Like, we'd get one day and then we'd get to that day a few weeks before, fights off. Get another day, get to 3 weeks before, fights off. Do you know what I mean? And so it was that bad that me and Jay actually started messaging each other on Instagram, asking each other, have you heard out about this fight? Like, what's happening? Where's it ending up? So we swapped a good few messages. So we're training to fight each other. But in the meantime, we're messaging each other to say, have you heard out? Do you know what I mean? As your manager said, so then it went. So in the end, Dennis ended up promoting it himself at Magna. He got it on BBC iPlayer. And again, what a fight. Yeah. Like, it were a good
It was never
fight.
going to disappoint.
It was never going to disappoint while it lasted, yeah. But again, and I don't want to sound like I'm making excuses, but again, and this is the story of my last few fights in my career. I should have moved up. I weren't a flyweight. Making the weight were killing me. It was killing me. And but
you don't get a second chance with Jay Harris either, do you?
No, no. But I had my British title. I had my Lonsdale belt. I wanted to defend it. I wanted to defend it against Jay because I knew it was a big domestic fight and I wanted that fight. But making flyweight was just killing me. I woke up the day of that fight and it was the only time where I just, my legs were like jelly, like the morning of the fight. Obviously, I'd med weight the best I can. Definitely not stupid like I'd done with Derbyshire, do you know what I mean? Or all like that.
I can't believe that.
I know, pal, I know. It was
amazing.
Just insane. And then I woke up the morning of the fight and I just had note in my legs. Like, my legs were like jelly all day. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, fucking hell, I'm boxing Jay Harris here, who's fought for a world title, a good kid. And like, what's happening here? So I just thought, do you know what? I kind of knew that the weight that I would done at the weight. And I just thought, well, basically, it's just like shit or bust here. Yeah. I'm just going to jump on him straight away. I'm just going to stick it straight on him. Yeah. And that's what I did. And that made it a good fight.
Yeah.
That made it a good fight. But as the fight went on, he were a fit, strong kid, Jay. Very, very fit.
It's like
strong.
Like we just said a minute ago there, if you're not bang on form, Jay's going to punish you.
Yeah.
And that's same with you as well.
Yeah. And he just outlasted me.
Yeah.
He just outlasted me.
What were the stoppage like?
Glyn threw toweling in 10th round, and it were right. It were right.
That's what I've got here,
yeah, because he like I said, it were a good fight, you know. And then as the fight got into like maybe round 7, 8, and 9, Jay just started. My tank just started dropping a bit, obviously, because I were just the weight. I had no in me. And that's why I had to go all out as early as I did. And he just outlasted me. I think it buzzed me a little bit in the 9th round. And I think, obviously, you know, your team and Sam were in the corner. And I think Sam, more than anyone, probably like prompted that fight to be stopped because Sam knows me inside out. And I've spoke to Sam since. And I think he just kind of saw the energy bar just go. Do you know what I mean? And he knew he knew the score. Yeah,
credit to Sam. Yeah, he knows, doesn't he?
Yeah, so I think, you know, Sam probably more than anyone prompted that fight to be stopped. Yeah. And yeah, but you know what? And this is mad. But you know, if I was still good at the weight, if I did the weight, or say if that weight were at super flyweight, or if I was strong at the weight like I used to be, I fully believe I'd have beat Jay Harris that night. I do. Yeah. You know, just as a fight, you get that feeling, and I thought that I could have beat Jay that night. I do.
Well, it would a fight that I always said you could ask 10 people and 5 would have get it to you and 5 would have get it to him before it mattered. Yeah, it were always going to be like that. Yeah. 2 quality fighters. I'm just glad it happened. Unfortunately, wrong end of it, mate.
Yeah,
but you know, I'm glad it happened because you're both top fighters, mate.
It were a good old-fashioned British title fight. That's how British title fights need to be, innit?
And like you said, if that had been at middleweight, still welter, it'd have been snapped up on some big show, that would have.
Yeah.
And then obviously, we touched on this earlier, didn't we? Before we come on air, you had your last fight, didn't you? I think it's a good one to finish on as well, but you went in with Guile your fight, didn't you?
Yes.
How did that come about, and were you out in that night, or what it
Yeah. So
do you know it was coming towards the end?
yeah, I think as much as I probably told myself it weren't.
But you always think that when you're pro, you always think you still got it. You still believe, don't you?
I think deep down, I probably knew this were more or less it. Because I think it was maybe a slow burner towards the end of my career. I think the last couple of years of my career, I think it just kind of came on slowly where things just started wearing me down a little bit. Like I said, I should have moved up weight, but certain things kept me down at the weight, like having a British title and stuff. And I just think I got probably a bit worn out, fights falling through and not really getting the opportunities or the money that I thought I'd be getting at that point in my career. Do you know what I mean? Not boxing on, big shows, which I always wanted to do. And it was just one of them where it's like, but if I'd have won the Harris fight, I'd have more or less got the Yafai fight. Do you know what I mean? That were more or less cemented. And I'd have been defending my British. Do you know what I mean? So that were always in mind. But then obviously after losing against Jay, and again, probably just being a bit burnt out, but I still thought, so in my mind after that fight, I thought, forget about being burnt out. You need to move up weight. That's what you need to do.
Yeah.
So that was the plan. Right, so I thought, right, I'm going to move up to super flyweight. Yeah, if I have to have an 8-rounder, I'll have an 8-rounder. Fresh start. Do you know what I mean? And then phone goes and being offered your fight.
And he come with money as well.
Yeah.
The fight,
yeah,
didn't he?
Of course, yeah.
But the brothers and that, you know what I mean? They were big time, weren't they, at the time?
Yeah. So, and obviously, I think they'd offered it Jay.
Yeah.
Obviously, after beating me. But for whatever reason, Jay didn't want to fight that close after that fight. So Jay turned it down. So then they came to me as the loser of that fight, but they still offered it me. And it was just, I felt like, because I'd never really had that break at fight on and that big exposure and that money as well. Yeah. I felt like I couldn't turn it down. I felt like I couldn't, and although it wouldn't be like that, but I just thought like my missus, and after all sacrificing I've done, do you know what I mean? I just felt like if I got an opportunity like that for that sort of money and that exposure on top at bill on DAZN, and I turned it down, it's just like, what have I been doing all this for then? So I had to take it. And again, I swore I'd never box at flyweight again, and I did. And to be fair, again, shout out to Lee. I worked with Lee Rickards. He did me nutrition, made the weight the best I can, the best I could. But I just shouldn't have been boxing at flyweight. And not only that, but let's be honest, I was boxing Galangi fight, an Olympic gold medal. Like I said to you earlier, I had that. I don't know what it were. It was just that belief I had in myself. Like, look, this has happened for a reason. Yeah. God's done this for a reason. Do you know what I mean? Trust it. Believe in yourself. You can do this. In reality, was I ever going to beat him? No, of course I weren't. Do you know what I mean? But again, at the time, I believed I was going to pull it off. And you know what? More so, what gutters me more was I was just embarrassed. I was embarrassed to have been done in first round like that. It's like a fighter's worst. Apart from being absolutely iron, knock spark out on your back, that's like probably the second worst nightmare you want as a fighter. You don't want to be stopped in a round here, but just proper gutted me, and I'm sad that were my last fight. Do you know what I mean? But then again, I that reiterated to me that, look, there's levels in boxing. Do you know what I mean? There's levels in boxing, and you're not at that level. You're not. And as well, my desire had gone. And I think it'd been a slow burner before that fight, but my desire had gone.
Yeah.
And although I didn't, what I did were I said to everyone, look, I'm just going to give it till end of this year. That were in August. So I said, I'm going to have end of this year. I'm going to have Christmas, and then I'm going to see how I feel. But I think in back of my mind, like deep down, I knew that was my last fight, because I'd lost that desire. I'd lost that motivation to go back again and dig in again and, and diet again and do it. I just lost it a bit.
Well, you should not be embarrassed by that, mate, because what a career you had, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. And if you're very proud of what you've achieved, mate, and never regret anything you've done, because you're a quality boxer and you did a great job. You know that, don't you?
Oh, man, I appreciate it, pal. And like I said earlier, I can't... my career were a massive success to me. Do you know what I mean? To come from where I came from and it's everything I dreamed of as a kid, that, you know what I mean?
Should be very proud.
Thank you very much, man.
All the best, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, lads. Thank you.
The Journeyman Cave is produced by James Proud. Music by Ryan Carrier. Special thanks to Rhythm Inc. Studios for hosting. All views expressed are of the guests only. The Journeyman Cave and host bear no responsibility for any opinions given. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter @The Journeyman Cave.